What's up? I'm Tyler.
And I'm Dakota.
And this is the Bourbon and Business Podcast,
where we interview successful businessmen and women to let you in on why success doesn't have a single formula to follow.
We also have a little bourbon tasting along the way, because why not?
Why not?
So guys, please enjoy this episode and let us know your thoughts at Bourbon and Business Podcast on Instagram.
Coming to you from the Bourbon and Business Studio here at the AC Hotel in Ridgeland, Mississippi. I'm Tyler.
And I'm Dakota.
And this is the Bourbon and Business Podcast. How you doing this afternoon, Dakota?
I'm great, Tyler. Good to see your beautiful face.
Yeah, well,
You're back next to me.
Appreciate you pointing that out every episode.
You're welcome.
Well, you want to introduce our guest to us?
I do. Today we have special guest Tanner McCraney, founder of Cowboy Country Club. Tanner, welcome.
Yeah, appreciate y'all having me.
What a name, Cowboy Country Club.
I'm ready to get into this.
I know it's gonna be good. But first, we want to say a special thank you to our sponsor, the AC Hotel here in Ridgeland, Mississippi. They're the premier hotel here. They've got lunches, breakfasts, dinners. Have you joined the Mahjong group yet?
Yeah, every
You
Tuesday.
did?
Every Tuesday.
For real?
Nah, I don't even know what that is.
That's ridiculous. That's not a funny joke, man. So they have a Mahjong group that meets here regularly. They've got event spaces for events. They've got it all.
Yep. And what are we sipping on, Dakota?
We are sipping on Dry Fly. What, Tyler?
This is a great name for a bourbon.
Yeah. Dry Fly. There's an actual fly on here, like a fishing fly for like trout fishing and stuff. And
your fly will stay dry.
I guess so. It's from Washington. So what are your thoughts?
Well, we've had a couple of these bourbons, or is this a whiskey or a bourbon?
It's a bourbon. Mm-hmm.
From out in the Northwest territory there.
Yeah.
And
way to go with your directions, man.
And it is I'll say this is one of the better ones that we've had from out there.
Okay.
I'm always get a little nervous when we start getting a bourbon from the West Coast, but I kind of like this one.
You never know what you're going to get.
First taste was a little strong,
mm-hmm.
but after that second, third taste, pretty good, pretty smooth. I'm about to give it a 7.4.
Okay.
So, do you know what we paid for that bottle?
That was like a $50 bottle.
$50 bottle, so for $50, good bottle to have, especially have on the shelf. I mean, Dry Fly, great name. Definitely, people are going to remember that when you say it. And if you want to get a bottle of this, you need to go to Cheers Vineyard in Gluckstadt, Mississippi. I want to thank them for being a sponsor of the podcast. And they have a huge selection of bourbons, or if you're not looking for a bourbon, pretty much any other spirit.
Yes.
Well, Tanner, we appreciate you coming on today. We like to always take the beginning of this podcast just for you to give your background, where you're from, and then how you got to the point of founding the Cowboy Country Club.
Absolutely. And I appreciate y'all having me. It's a shame we're having to do this remotely. It seems like y'all are having a good time.
Always.
But kind of as y'all introduced, my name is Tanner McCraney. I'm a Jackson, Mississippi native. Went to Jackson Prep. Finished there in 2018. Went over to play soccer at Rhodes College, where I started my journey of going to med school. That's what I always thought I was going to do. Switched over to Ole Miss to get a little different of a college experience. Ended up pursuing the med school track. And once I finished up all my prerequisite classes, you could switch majors to give yourself a really easy senior year. And I thought, why not try up entrepreneurship? I've always had little businesses growing up. I was making custom Nike Elites for people. In high school, we would always have, different schemes going on, but I always had a little passion for that, but never got to act on it. So started taking classes, ended up entering the business competition at Ole Miss with an idea that I had freshman year for a different business called Roomy. That's college marketplaces built for universities. And we ended up winning the entire thing, which derailed my plan going to med school, and ended up fully activating this passion I have for entrepreneurship and starting businesses. Right after college, I discovered this gap between being a college student in a community and being an adult where you're kind of lost. And many guys like me turn to golf as a way to spend your Saturday afternoons, as a way to make friends and keep that competitive edge. And that's a game you can play forever. But the gap I discovered was that you kind of feel excluded for the game not being a member of a community or a country club. And so I thought, why not make up a country club and invite people to join? And launched with 300 hats. Now we're selling almost 300 hats a day. So, uh,
Wow.
Wow.
journey.
So are y'all like mainly online? Do you have any stores anywhere?
Yeah, we've got around 150 retail locations across the country. Started off just selling to one of our first stores was the Rogue in Jackson. Just learning. Luke Abney gave us a chance over there, so big shout out. But we've grown that. We have some big box retailers like Shields. They've got about 30 locations all over the country. You know, those are like 50,000 square feet. But yeah, lots of retail, and we do a ton online. We're probably about 60% online, 40% retail now. We've got 2 full-time sales guys.
That's a pretty good balance, 60/40 for a company that started out so small and is growing so rapidly.
Yeah, absolutely. It wasn't always like that. When we started, it was all, I was making TikToks talking about feeling lonely in the game of golf and feeling like I didn't have a home. And that's how we caught fire. Had a couple viral TikToks, and people resonated and wanted to join the Made Up Country Club that I was starting. And we ended up bringing on a former professor I had at Ole Miss named Blake Dubinsky, who is the founder of Genteel Apparel. And the first thing he said was, "Well, we're going to take this from 99% online to try and get you to about 50-50, because when you unlock retail, you unlock predictability in retail. So, you go sell, like right now, we're selling for spring of next year. So we go to our retail stores and we say, hey, here's what we're making. What do y'all want to order? You have till, middle of summer to tell us exactly what you want. And that tells us how much we need to buy. When online, you're just guessing based on
Yeah,
how you're doing. And with Instagram algorithms and virality, it's impossible to predict how much stuff you should buy.
very
Well,
interesting.
talk to our listeners about TikTok and the importance of getting your brand on social media and how to market yourself on social media.
When I started, I had I don't think I'd ever posted a video on Instagram or TikTok. Of course, I grew up in the age of social media, have had Instagram since I had a phone when I was 13 years old or so. But I had never really put myself out there, but I had seen all these brands on, when you get on TikTok and your algorithm starts learning what you like, it had noticed that I was really liking entrepreneurial content, and I was seeing these people it's kind of coined a phrase called building in public, which is,
Hmm.
you talk about the process and what you're doing every day to get to a certain point, and then by the time you launch, you have an audience of people ready to join or buy your product. And when in apparel, let's just say we all came up with a hat or a shirt today. We're not going to see that shirt for minimum 90 days. So it's like in the game, what do you do for those 90 days? And I wasn't just going to sit there. So I just started posting multiple times a day, if not at least once a day, just talking about golf content. I was clipping, like uh, making mashups of Tiger Woods edits and just building a community on TikTok and Instagram that loves golf and feels like me. And then by the time I launched, I had already had about 10,000 followers on TikTok and 4,000 followers on Instagram. And then when I launched, it wasn't like, hey, we have a product, let's go find people. It was,
Mhm.
we launched, we sell out within a couple of minutes, and then we're on to the next one. And then it's just building, what did people like about it this time? What did people like about what I'm saying? And I'm by no means am I a
Yeah.
content expert now, but I'm not scared to post and
Yeah.
learn as we
Well,
go.
and I think it creates, like a fan club, people that know you. So they're like, hey, obviously they're going to buy your product if they like you. And, there's no better way now to, get your information out there and for people to like you than to post and to give them a real life. Hey, this is my day. This is what's going on in my life or in the workplace. But there's also the negative side of it.
Mm.
If you're not careful, if you're not paying attention to what you're posting, you can offend people. How do you navigate that? on knowing what to post and what not to post.
Yeah, because we can't let Tyler have any of our social handles because
Yeah.
everyone would be offended 24/7.
Yeah.
So
See, for me, golf is somewhere where I can really give opinions on, anything. And my goal from the very beginning was make content that people will have an opinion on, positive or negative. Because comments, whether they're positive or negative, I don't care. It does not offend me one bit. But the second someone comments, it's going to push it out. And
Mhm.
so if you're trying to please everyone and you don't take like a stand on either side about a certain topic, like let's just say like live golf or like a certain rule or a golf course or, some experience, or player drive, whatever you want to talk about. If you don't take a stance, then you're really not going to get comments like you would if
Mhm.
you just make a decision. And it's like I'm playing a character whenever I'm posting. Like these a lot of the stuff I say might not be exactly what I think as a person, but you're in building a brand, I'm building kind of an aura of like me as the pro shop, the director of membership, and I'm just posting things that I think people will comment on. And let's just say 70% of it's hate. Fine by me. It's growing the audience.
and that's what you said when you were saying, or that's what you meant when you were saying you're playing a character, right? Because it's not
Yeah.
even necessarily your thoughts, but it's what you think will generate views and remarks, right?
Yeah, and my brand is a made up country club, and I'm very forward about that it's not a real place. And so
Yeah.
that gives me kind of the authority that I can just kind of make up things as I go and tell
Mhm.
stories about what's happening at this made up country club. And we always harp on we don't have members, we have or sorry, we don't have customers, we have members. And
Hmm.
we do a weekly email to our it's called the membership weekly where we essentially tell stories of what went on at the Cowboy Country Club of the last week. Uh, Obviously, it's a fake country club, so nothing happens. So we're just stories. So we just try to have a lot of fun with it, be authentic, and just um, post things that people want to engage with, whether positive or negative. But
So, how did you come up with the name?
so I was fishing, and after I was working a finance internship, I wanted to get after I decided not to go to med school, I wanted to get some actual business experience. So I was working a finance job at an oil company north of Georgia, and every day I'm wearing nice dress clothes, but I was living on Lake Lanier, so I would fish every day in my head to toe nice Brooks Brothers, Peter Millar, you name it song Redneck Yacht Club came on, and I was like, and I had already been thinking about starting a brand because I took 4 classes with Blake Dubinsky, who I mentioned earlier, started Genteel, where he was talking about how that process went. And I'd already had the idea of solving that gap between feeling included in the game of golf, and that kind of I already had my phrase, which was "feel exclusive wherever you play." That's what I wanted my brand to make people feel. And when I heard that song Redneck Yacht Club, it clicked. I was like, Redneck Yacht Club, Cowboy Country Club. Like it just makes sense. And I looked online and I could not believe nobody had taken it. Because if you think about, who is someone that is in the starting ages of golf, like wanting to feel a part of the game, and then you look at the other side of people that are in country clubs, they've kind of made it, they have their community. I was thinking about those people can be found anywhere from the Cowboys to the country club, or basically everyone that is in between that. Obviously, the name has resonated with the Western community a little bit, so we've leaned into some different, kind of Western style photo shoots. We've released some Western things, but at its heart, we want to stay true to the mission that we are a made up country club, but we're not afraid to get a little Western because it just makes sense, and there's no sense in meaning different things to different people as long as we're something that they enjoy and helps them feel exclusive on any course. Like I said.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
For sure. Um, well, tell us a little bit about so obviously, in the retail world, there are tons of different hats, shirts, that you can buy out there. What would you say makes y'all stand apart or stand out from the competition?
We like to say that we're the most asked about golf brand out there. And where we get that from is the community that we get. I mean, I have DMs every day saying that they see another member out in public, and it really sparks a conversation. It's like, "Oh, you're a member of Cowboy Country Club too." It's like, "Yeah, man." Yada yada. And so our social presence is really what makes it, and the stories that we tell that build the brand. I mean, we use the same factories that all the top golf brands use. So quality wise, we're right there next to them. But people, if you're a new brand and you're trying to compete on quality, good luck. You got to make it mean something more than just the shirt on their back. And so every decision we make, every shirt we design, every hat, it's like, all right, how can this make what will this make someone feel like when they put it on, and how does it help them connect to a certain community or feel a certain way? And so it's like every decision we make is first off, how does this impact the brand? And then it's like, all right, how can we make the quality as good as humanly possible?
Yeah, I like that because you've got to have in today's world. It can't. You're right. It can't just be quality. It can't just be. Yeah, we've got a quality product and we're getting the efficiency down to where we can, the margins are increasing or whatever because everybody's already done that. The big players have already done that. They've figured that out. They've got it down to an exact science, a formula that they can, run and decide how much, what the thread count needs to be and all that kind of stuff and the
Yeah.
colors and how they're going to make money if, there's 4 colors in a shirt or 2 colors in a shirt or whatever. So it's gotta be compelling. It's gotta have a story to it. You've got to attach some emotion to it and giving something to people that they can be a part of, especially when they're not already a part of something, yeah, that's a great idea. That was fantastic on your part. Tell us a little bit about some of the other companies maybe that you've started before. You said you've always had that entrepreneurial spirit. What, do you have entrepreneurs in your family at all? What kinda led to that over the years, and how do you see that evolving into what you have today?
Totally. So when the business competition that I mentioned that we won at Ole Miss, it stemmed from I actually got robbed on Facebook Marketplace my freshman year trying to get rid of some lamps, and it immediately led me to this idea that I just sat on for until I switched majors and actually had some free time. Was to build a college marketplace where you just sign in with your .edu email address, and then you can just connect with your campus to buy, sell, and rent anything from tickets to textbooks to furniture to clothing, and that's called Roomy. And that's what we won with. We ended up raising money for, and we were able to get it to over 1,000 college campuses nationwide. And that's where I really cut my teeth and learned how do you market on social media? How do you build a brand? How do you even like start a website or an LLC? Just like all the little mistakes and tiny different things that you've just gotta learn in business from actually doing it, because you can read books, but you just kinda have to start and fail and
Mhm.
figure it out. So when it was time to start Cowboy Country Club, I basically was able to start it in probably 10% of the time that it took me to start Roomy, my first business, and for a heck of a less money, a heck of a lot less money because of just how many lessons I learned. And that business is still running today. We pivoted the platform to instead of trying to get as many because we had you know upwards of 250,000 college students on the platform at one time. But what we realize is then those students graduate and then you're going to have to pay to get them again. And so now we specifically work with universities. And so we license our platform to universities. It's become a much more simple business. And we've got systems and processes that it can grow while I focus on, other different businesses. So yeah, I mean, but if I always tell people, they're like, how does Roomy compare to Cowboy Country Club? I say, I never would have been able to do Cowboy Country Club if it weren't for Roomy because I wouldn't have learned the millions of lessons that I learned in my first
Mm,
business.
Yeah, and I think you touched on a key thing there for an entrepreneur to be successful, being able to pivot, when things come up in the business, being able to, like you said, hey, we changed our model from going to students to hey, we're going straight to the universities. And I think so many times people that start a business are stuck on the initial idea because it's almost like
we're afraid to pivot or
yeah,
something.
it's almost like it's your baby, and it's like, "Hey, this is my idea. This is what I wanted it to be," and there's no willingness to change to the market.
Would you say it's like a pride thing maybe? It's probably different for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just you love the idea, and it really is. I mean, it's something you created, but
Yeah.
also have to realize is the market has to be a demand for it. So,
Mhm.
I think they call it like the sunk cost fallacy where you're like, I've already put so much time and effort and put this idea out in the world. It's like, I feel like I can't change it now. it's like how Blockbuster failed. They had it, but they were
Yeah,
unwilling to pivot and change directions. And so I'm very quick. I kind of operate whenever I do a lot of mentorship with small businesses, and I tell them all the time, it's like find what works and then lean into it heavy. Like you come in and you say, this is what my business is. It's like, all right, we'll go test it in the market and see what your customers say. And whatever they say they think your business is, or they think, it should look like this, and they'll actually for it, lean into that. Like leave your ego at the door.
100%. Tanner, I want to get your take on something just because you've actually got the lived in real world experience under your belt with a couple of companies. And I know when I was in an entrepreneur class, I remember talking to my teacher and I said, "Do you actually believe that Bill Gates did a SWOT analysis on all of his competition before he started Microsoft?" And that Steve Jobs did this before he started Apple and all these different, huge company CEOs, and Jeff Bezos went in and did all these different, analysis of his competition and stuff. And she's like, "No, absolutely not." And I was like, "Then why are we learning about it?" Because it's not real world. So what is your experience on the book knowledge versus your real world experience? Did they overlap at all? And what would you tell people who are out there interested in it?
I think purely consuming content means nothing without any action because I would say if you ask Steve Jobs or Bill Gates, do you wish you had done something like that in the beginning? What do you think it would have avoided? Because I'm sure that they made millions of mistakes in the first two
Hmm.
years. That if they had that knowledge, that they would have been able to avoid. Like when I start a new business, no, I don't go and do all these analysis and create a business plan, but I have all those I get frameworks that help me make decisions and evaluate opportunities that if I had not have learned how to do those at first, I think that I would have just I think it helps remove ego by making data-driven decisions because anyone can say, "I think this idea is great and it's gonna work because I think so." But when you kind of stress test it with those frameworks, I think there's a lot of benefits to it, but at the end of the day, if you don't actually go test them in the market, then it's pointless. It's just words on a paper. So I believe in action over, consuming content any day of the week.
Oh, well said. Well said.
Well, Dakota, think it's a good time for a bourbon break.
Yeah, man. It's hot. I thought it was rough on the nose though. It wasn't my favorite. And then, bourbon always hits you right on the tongue. And then right after that is kind of when the flavor hits, right? So you get like an initial note of something, and then right after that you get a little flavor profile. And I was not a fan of this one. It was not my favorite flavor. Um, so I'm gonna land at a 6.5.
6.5.
Yeah. Little rougher for me, but, that's okay. Someone might love it. So go get you up a bottle of, Dry Fly and, see if it's for you.
Well, Tanner, what advice would you give a young person out there, or maybe even someone that's further into their career and they're wanting to jump
An old
into,
person like Tyler.
yeah, into something more, to become an entrepreneur, but maybe they're hesitant? What advice would you give them about making that jump?
Well, first off, I would say if you're going to start a business with a little bit of experience or no experience, first, make sure one, you either absolutely love it and you cannot sleep if you do not do it, or two, make sure that it's going to make a lot of money because I feel like humans are only driven by two things, and it's either like passion or money. And for a lot of people, the journey to making money is rough. I mean, you're going to fail endlessly. The first business you start, almost 100% will fail. But that means that your second one, you will be almost an expert on those failures and will be able to not make them again. So start small, get something in the market as quickly as you possibly can. If you want to build an app, why don't you build a website and just get it out? If you want to design a clothing line, just make a hat. It's like, what is the quickest way I can get this into customers' hands, get feedback, and see if it works? Because you don't want to look up a year down the line and you've got a trash can full of, you know, frameworks and ideas, and you never actually got started. Because if you had gotten it into the market in the first month, you might be on business number three by that time.
Good word.
That is a good word.
Well, tell our listeners if they're out there and they haven't heard of the Cowboy Country Club, what is the best way for them to connect with y'all?
Yeah, I mean, we've got retail stores just about in every city in the Southeast. So if you're in there, go support your local retailer. They're a huge backbone of our business, and we appreciate each one of them. If you're an internet shopper, cowboycountryclub.com, you can buy from our TikTok, our Instagram, our website, uh, whichever is the easiest for you. But we're always accepting new members to the club. We're a growing community, and we appreciate everyone, and we know that each person will help grow the brand incrementally.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna send my membership paperwork in after this
Yeah, I
episode here,
believe I
so
will as well.
Yeah, we'll get you accepted real quick.
yeah. Okay, good deal. Well, to all our listeners, however you stream this podcast, if you would give us a rating and follow us on socials and also follow the Cowboy Country Club, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, and I'd say, like, one last thing about podcasts for people that,
Mhm.
just to in y'all's benefit here, I've found the best way to consume content about business is through podcasts. It's like every time I'm building a new business, I'm listening to a podcast because you can multitask. It's like I don't have time to read, so I consume everything through. So I love that y'all are doing this. I think it's great, and listeners out there, I think if you're listening to this, listen to it while you're building your idea or something. I don't know. That's all I gotta say.
That's a great
Fantastic.
word, and I'm glad you did that because I forgot to give our final rating on this, so
Oh,
everybody
yeah.
can. So we're gonna land at a 7.0 for
That's
the
almost accurate.
dry fly. Yeah,
Very close.
so without my calculator, we're going with that. So,
Proud of you.
but we'll see you next week.
Hope you guys enjoyed this episode.
If you have any feedback or would like to be featured, reach out to us at bourbonandbusinesspodcast@gmail.com.
Or find us on Instagram at Bourbon and Business Podcast.
Thanks again for listening.
Follow us for more content and info on the next episode.